The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. Welcome to Happy Friday. Our guest today will be none other than Norman, who calls it to the minute. Winsky will be our guest at 12:30 sharp, and he'll be talking to us about the markets, of course, as usually does, and give us a review of what he's been doing over the past week. Let's take a quick look here, folks, at one chart that looked absolutely spectacular last night when I sent it out when it was at $4.48 a pound. None other than the red metal itself, Dr. Copper, and it hit it spot on and immediately rallied 8 cents. And boys and girls, stay tuned, because I sent this out just shortly thereafter because I had a very, very suspicious feeling about this, and suspicion was right, and by golly, we ended up with a break-even trade. And as we mentioned several times, these break-even trades sometimes can be your best trades. Copper has broken down now, folks. We're way below the 447 level, so I would think you'd be really careful there. I mean, it's been the leader of the pack so much. Yeah, sometimes we're lucky. Sometimes we're not. Take a look here. This is one that we were looking at this morning here real early in the morning. And of course, I send these out before the market opens. You'll see that we were looking for a sale up there around 41.83 in the S&P. And we also had another one that worked relatively good, and that was the gold market. It did another one that worked pretty good. Unfortunately, these only work about 70% of the time, but when they do work, then you've got something moving in your favor. So let's keep an eye on some of these things right now. Okay, well that's usually the case. Hold on, bear with me, folks. I've got a problem with I've got limit minders going everywhere, and I have to be able to see what's going on here. And we're having a little relatively good day here today, and I wanted to be able to move on here. Just 1 second. And get along with what we got here. Hold on 1 second, boys and girls. I'm sorry to be so erratic today, but I have 4 positions on, and I have to be very, very careful, as I always am. So I have my stops in now. Any questions? 877-927-6648. We've had a lot of things going on with volatility, and folks, I think they're going to increase even more and more. Let me give you an indication here this morning here from last night. One of our good friends across the pond over there in the Far East was kind enough to send us this Gartley that we had here in the S&P up there at that 486 level, and we came all the way down to 1872 and made the target there. And then his pointing is if we get below that, we're going to be breaking down quite a bit. Well, folks, we went up and made a double top after that ABCD, that 135 pattern had formed. We went up and almost made a double top. We missed it by $1, 18.90. And was the high today. 1891 was the high back on the 19th. Silver's lagging badly, of course, but this is mainly what we're looking at. The other thing about this chart, and believe me, Mr. Nazir is a really incredible technician, heck of a trader too. He's in the platinum and gold business. But you'll notice on the bottom, you'll see the relative strength. You can see the relative strength on this last move up, and the S&P was a little suspect. Now, we're going to be watching that tonight because we went back and touched the higher level and then started to sell off a little bit because we broke from 1890 all the way down to 1872. We dropped 18 handles in a very, very short time. So these are some of the things that we're watching as we look at some of these things here today. Okay, now, I want to bring one other thing to your attention that I think is important, and I believe it's very, very important because it's been in the news quite a bit, and it's only related to the technical part of this, folks. This is the 61% retracement of the whole range for, I believe it was exactly 30,000. Now, this, if you look, I know it's in hindsight, but we did mention these patterns before. If you will look at the top up here, and this is a daily, look at the high that we had at 62,500 on the 15th of March, and then on April 14th, we made a 3 drive to a top pattern at 65,000. Then on the 16th of May, 16th of May, we had a perfect head and shoulders pattern, folks. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, bada bing, bada boom. It was at measure 2.618 of the low that we made going way back into last year in the fall of last year. So if this market goes below 30,000 now, lights out. So be really, really careful in here. We're seeing volatility here like we've never seen before. Rich was kind enough to send us this volatility chart on these things, and I think you got sit around the campfire for just a minute here, boys and girls. The old cowboy wants to give you a little bit of a flavoring of experience. Okay, I've done everything, been there, done that, rode every horse, rode every pig. Anyway. You can see these markets dropped 50% or more. Dogecoin dropped 69%, Bitcoin Cash 70%. This is the kind of volatility. I know you're not going to believe it. I know you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you next, but this is the kind of volatility we're going to be looking at in the stock market. It's already telegraphing what it wants to do. So be really careful in these markets. If you're trading without a stop, thank you, Marshall, for the quote. If you're trading without a stop, you're really doing yourself a grave disservice. So remind yourself that they're there for protection, and that's why you have to use them. So we are having a tremendous amount of volatility here, so we'll see that what we've got here. Wow, we got all the way down to 41.54 in the old stop and P, huh? That's a pretty good jump here. Okay. All right, let's move on here for just a second here. I think I have to look at just thank you, Jesus. I'm sorry, folks. I thought the other day was better when we had that $100 move in gold, but this is I'm going to shut up. Please, somebody answer a question for me, please. Hey, look, I don't do this for the money. I do it to try to help you guys. Anyway, let's move on to Let's move on to a couple other things here. 2 things have happened, folks. Remember, we're in the corn position. It's doing incredibly well. That's one of the things I did want to talk about. So let's get this up here. 1 second here, and I want to show you the old Christmas corn. Here we go. Let's get this up. This has been one that, if you like Fibonacci numbers, this was one that's hit spot on. We went down. We went a half a cent lower than our order. We got filled at 22. The low was 21.25. And now we've rallied up to 5. We're about 35. We're 40 cents. We're 28 cents higher. So we're almost $15 higher. What we've done now is we've raised our stop from break even to 537. But I've got good news on the grain front, if you'll bear with me.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, we're back, folks, and fortunately, we have a lucky caller that has won the lottery. Steve from Austin is in the house. Steve, how are you doing today?
Larry, I'm doing great. Thank you for taking my call. I certainly appreciate it. I love your analysis of stuff, and I love the idea that, hey, look, we're only looking at probabilities here, and you can be right, you can be wrong, but just don't take, your attitude to take it, limiting losses is everything. I think you're spot on with that. So anyway, I've got two questions for you, but the first one is on the IWM. That's kind of been the weakest of all the...
no question about it. It sure has.
It's kind of looks like a consolidation, but it could go either way, I guess, is in what I'm saying, or what I'm asking you, is if it broke a certain level, where would you see it go? Or if it broke it to the upside, what would you envision for it? In other words, where are your risk parameters on it for long or short on this thing?
Okay, Steve, when I'm looking at this, back in May, actually 28th of April, we had that high up there at the 78% level. Then we made a big ABCD down into the 13th. And then for the last 7 days, we've been making lower highs. That's a 1-3-5 pattern. And when you stop and think how strong the S&P has been and how well the NASDAQ has been stronger than it has been, and how strong the Dow is, anybody that buys this is being really, really dangerous, because this is a weaker market. It's the weakest markets in a strong market. That means if the strong market starts to become weak, this thing will probably melt down. That's the way it looks like to me. But I could be wrong, as always, But you're right about the trading range, 2240 on the upside, and on the downside, it's 2115. I think the last I saw it was around 2217 today, down quite a bit from the high, but still in that area. So those are the two parameters: 2110, 2115 on the downside, and 2224 on the upside. If the market turns around from here, which it certainly can do, you'd be looking at a market that could be, could continue strong. But right now, it looks extremely weak. Right.
Okay. Thank you for that. Answers my question there, because I'm kind of looking at it the same way. It's weak, but it's kind of in the middle, and I don't want to commit anything yet until it moves one way or the other, I guess. The other one is on crude oil, because crude oil has been, I think, kind of toppy in here, and that's the read I have. What are your thoughts on crude oil right now?
I see the same thing. We're very strong resistance up here at $64 a barrel. That's just shy. The 61% retracement comes in around 64.80. So somewhere between 64 and 64.80, I think we're going to have Steve, this market is not for the faint of heart. It moves $1,000. If you go to the bathroom and forget to put a stop in, you could be sitting there with $1,000 loss. That's how quickly it moves. I don't know if the folks. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
No, that's it, Larry. Because what I'm thinking of doing is there's some oil stocks that I have, but it's a bifurcated market in the oil market because some of them have so much debt that if the price of oil drops, they're really going to be hurt more than others. There's a couple that are in really good shape financially, and they can weather a lower price. But what I'm thinking is if we break below your level there of like 60, what'd you say the low breaking point was?
$61 a barrel is the breaking point, and to the downside.
Where would it go to if you thought if it broke there? What would 54. Be your target?
54. Okay. Yeah, $54 is what I'd be looking at. And that could easily do that. Remember, when you're trading crude oil, you're trading against basically four large entities. There's two in London, there's one in New York, there's one in Dubai, and there's one in Singapore. I don't know if the dude in Singapore is still a player because he got hammered so bad on that day when it went to, minus $27. But I'm sure they got enough money there. They're probably doing it. But they really do most of the volume in the crude oil market, and it trades off the numbers absolutely beautifully. So they know something about Fibonacci and sacred geometry, so that helps quite a bit. And when you're trading crude, I think you just about have to use an 80-point or $800 stop because it's that wild. Just like in gold, you've got to risk $8 to $10. So those are just a couple of heads-up things that I think that we ought to keep in mind about.
Oh, Larry, that really helps out a lot. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. That's kind of what I'm thinking on this stuff. So I just wanted to get some feedback from you on it. So thank you so much.
Well, I hope it helps, and I really appreciate. Are you in Austin, Texas?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah,
I live
beautiful place.
A place called Onion Creek.
Get out of here! I bought a house there.
Really?
I bought a house there in 1974. It was right next door to Darrell Royal. The football coach for Texas.
Yes.
Yeah. I bought it, and it was it was a subdivision, and they had them up for sale, and I was. Was it 74? No, it was 78, 1978. And my kids were bothered by the school with the Jarvis Gantt initiative. And so I figured when this thing, and I finished the silver gold run that I had at Drexel, that I was going to move down there. So I bought a house there for $84,000. I put $2,000 down that weekend. And then the following weekend, I brought the kids down to take a look at it. They liked the house and everything, but boy, they did not like Austin. They saw a couple of cockroaches somewhere along the way, and my daughter said, Dad, she said, that bug was so big, if I'd had a saddle, I could have rode him home. And that was it. I said, well, I'm going to take a hit on this. So I went in to sell the house on that Sunday, and there were so many people lined up to buy it. I actually made $2,500 on the deal, but it's such a beautiful area where you live there. Oh my God, that's just rolling hills of Texas. It's just it's just spectacular.
It is beautiful, but Larry, I'll tell you, there are so many companies that are moving in here, like Google, Apple, and Larry Ellison's what's that?
Oracle.
They're moving in here, Elon Musk, and the prices of real estate here in this area are just going through the roof.
Wow.
I've moved over into a senior living facility, and
Did you lie about your age like I did?
No, unfortunately, I'm up there. So, I'm a little younger than you, but not by much. So it's that time of life, and we're just trying to make the best of what we got left. So right.
Amen, baby. I see the finish line, and I'm relishing the day when I reach it in another 15 years. Hey, Steve, listen, I really appreciate you calling in, and be safe down there, okay?
All right, Larry, thank you. I listen to you every day. I love it. So
all right,
you keep.
I'll send
God
you the
bless
$20. I still got your address here in Austin, so I'll send you the $20 right after the show today.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. We'll be right back, folks, with Norman, who calls it to the minute Winsky.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The gold report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The gold report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The gold report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the gold report now. Protect your buying power. Order the gold report now.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den trading room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we're back, and I believe we have Norman Winsky in the house.
Hello, Larry.
Hello, Norman. You have the mic. Please tell us what you're looking at.
All right. Well, first we're going to I was on your show on Monday, May the 10th, and we're going to review what I gave the folks what was coming up then. And, that weekend, that was a Monday, and so I showed them what happened over the weekend and what was coming up after that. And then we're going to review that and see if we can learn something. That's always good to learn something, right?
Amen, brother. Amen.
So there you go. Over the 7th weekend, that was a Friday, that weekend, we had one of my top things is when the planets get to 0 latitude. As they go around the sun, like horses on a carousel, they go round and around, and they also go up and down. And when they get to that midpoint, even with the what's called the ecliptic, the highway for the planets, that tends to be a high energy point. That's an important point. And we often see changes in trends in the market. Those who have been following the markets closely, May 10th may ring a bell because quite a few markets turned about that time. I don't follow lumber, but I think lumber topped on the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. And I think maybe the Bitcoin had a pretty good high day there too.
Yes.
So anyway, let's go look at the markets now that we do follow. And the markets associated with Venus are cattle, copper, cotton. Stocks respond to everything, sugar and wheat. You might want to I recommend taking a screenshot of this kind of your program guide to what you're looking at right now on the screen. Then we had the Neptune making 135-degree angle to the U.S. natal chart, and that's based on where the planets were on July the 4th, 1776, when the good old USA was founded. And anything to do with the U.S. natal chart is U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. Then we have that. Here's my super secret cryptic language here. I got this from the CIA code book. AC is after the close. PM is afternoon. Occasionally I have an AM, but not this month. And that would be morning if you ever see an AM. Okay? That's advanced cryptology. What they call it, cryptology. Okay, there we go. So here the afternoon of the 11th was our next window for something to happen. We have the moon's north node making what's called a contraparallel. That has to do with declination to Pluto. So we have the moon's north node to Pluto. Pluto is cocoa, hogs, and stocks. And then because it's in Capricorn, that's coffee. And the moon, it has to do with silver. We're going to be looking at those markets. Then we had that afternoon of the 11th. We had a new moon in Taurus the Bull at apogee. That's when the moon in its monthly cycles at its farthest point. And so we have the moon and apogee lining up. That's called a micromoon, the opposite of a supermoon. And that was to be your round up your usual suspects for the moon, which was financials, grains, precious metals. And because it's in Taurus the Bull, we'll be looking at cattle and also cotton. So then we had Jupiter to the U.S. Saturn. That's your U.S. stocks, T-bonds, the U.S. dollar. And then that was after the close of the 11th. After the close of the 13th, Jupiter changed signs. That doesn't happen very often, about once a year, but due to geocentric from the point of view of Earth, they tend, the planets from the point of view of the Earth tend to go 2 steps forward, 1 step back, so they kind of whipsaw their way forward. And so it's going to go into Pisces here for a little while, and then it'll retrograde in a couple of months, and then go back into Aquarius. So there you go. But for right now, in the middle of the May, here we had the night of the 13th, Jupiter went into Pisces, and that's the big liquid, which is oil, and also, of course, stocks respond to everything. Then we had the moon's north node to Pluto again, and that's the same ones we had before: cocoa, coffee, hog, silver, stocks, and T-bonds. And then the grains, their main thing on the short-term basis or to intermediate is the moon and Mercury. And another Mercury cycle has to do with, from the point of view of the Earth, there's a three-way relationship between the Earth, the Sun, and Mercury. And whether Mercury and Venus both do this, they kind of go back and forth relative to the Sun. Are they, how far in front of the Sun are they? How far behind the Sun are they? And they get to a certain extreme, and then they go back the other way, kind of like a pendulum swinging back and forth. And on the night of the 14th, we had Mercury at its maximum elongation. That's what it's called, east. And so we had your grains, corn, soybeans, and of course stocks and wheat. So let's go take a look at how it all worked out. A green arrow is good, a red arrow is bad. Okay. And if you see a yellow bar, I had a few of those too, where it's going sideways, because I may go along with good old Isaac Newton, who said for every action there's an opposite equal reaction, and if the market's going sideways, we don't know what to do, and when in doubt, just stay out. So here you go. The cattle was going up, up, up. Unfortunately, we were about a day early on that one, on our Venus point here for cattle, and so that's a miss. But the next day on the moon was pretty right just ahead of that top there, and then you had a big down. That was a new moon in the sign of Taurus, the bull, and cattle topped. Well, it went just a tiny bit higher the next day, and then the cattle took a dive, you know. All right, here's your copper, topped right on the, over the weekend they had Venus, and that opening on Monday, it was near a little bit higher that day, and then that was been the high, I think, for the month. So that was pretty good. Here you have your cotton, also a Venus market, one day past that high there. So that was a good one. We were going down. We had our moon point there, and that didn't work so well. It only went sideways, and you probably would have got stopped out for hopefully a small loss. I totally agree with Larry about you got to limit your losses. Cut your losses. Okay to be wrong, just don't be wrong for long. There you go. So sugar had a pullback into the Venus point. And there you had a nice pop up there for a couple of days. I think that's about a whole handle there worth about $1,120 or so. Here's your cocoa. Cocoa did pretty well for us. Pulled back into our Pluto point there. Cocoa is Pluto. And then it went up. And then we were just a little bit off that top there. That point there you had, you could have made a little bit of money on the downside there. So here's your coffee. Uh-oh. Was that you, Larry?
Well, no, my pacemaker, I had to change batteries. It should be okay.
I think the Russians are hacking their show there earlier or something. Okay, coffee was coming down here, and we might have been tempted to buy there on our Pluto point, because Pluto's in Capricorn, there's a coffee, and that did not work out. But then later, a couple days later, we had another Pluto point, and that was pretty close to that low right there. Just one day passing a little bit above that high. So that was good. We went 50-50 on the coffee. Here's your hogs. We had a nice low there on the hogs. They popped up for a day. And then, hopefully you had a trend line or something in there, or some kind of trailing stop. I don't believe in giving all the money back. And then we came all the way back down here. And then next Pluto point.
We got to pay a few bills. Can you hang with us for a bit? Okay, we'll be right back with Norman, who calls it to the minute Winsky. But sometimes.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Okay, we're back, folks. We're chatting with Norm Winsky of Astro Trends out of Naples, Florida. Norm, would you like to continue, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Larry. I thought I'd give throw out a few principles here. Notice my charts. I don't have any moving average, no oscillators. Pretty much just simple bars. You can put some trend lines on there if you want. That's about it. Don't need any spaghetti on the charts. Gann told you that time is more important than price, so we don't have to forecast the price. Don't need any magic levels. The time will give you the key times will give you the key prices. So that's it. When we get to the key time, then you look at the market and see if it's going down, going up. About 75% of the time, if you get to one of these prices and you're at an extreme, it will turn. And the bigger the extreme, the better your chances of making a nice trade. Okay, so there we just did the hogs. We had two nice windows there there's a nice low there just ahead of that bottom there before the hogs turned and went up, up, up. Here's your silver. We were topping on the moon, I believe. And then we had another point here with the moon's north node, and which has to do with silver also. So there you go. You top there, bottom there, and then you had a nice rally in the silver. Here's the gold on the moon, and you were near a top there. Let's say one day off the top there on the gold. And here's your crude oil near the bottom on a Neptune point. And there you go. You're buying right near that low there on the crude oil, and you had a big rally there about 3 handles, good for about $3,000 in about 3 days. A little better than minimum wage, Here's your grains. Have been working really well on this stuff. Here's the moon for the corn, right there near the top, and you could have sold against that high over there. It's just I think a few pennies off the top there. And then you had a big sharp down into the Mercury point over the 14th weekend, and that was the low. And then it went out. It's pretty simple. Okay. Anybody can do this. And here's your beans. There were one day ahead of the top there on the beans. Then the beans, our next point, the beans just went sideways. So take a pass. There's a yellow bar for take a pass. Here's your wheat. They popped up for the moon, and then it had a sharp down. And here's the S&P, a lot more complicated because the S&P responds to everything. And there we had two signals there for over the weekend of the 7th into the opening of the 10th. And that was right near the top. That's been the top, the all-time high. Actually, the futures tops that Sunday night, the 9th. And then that was the top. And as I said earlier, so it's quite a few markets topped there, made turns there. And then we had 3 things right here, but they were unfortunately a day early. Sometimes a day early is okay, but in this case, too much volatility, not good risk. And so you dropped like 100 handles here or something like that. Not acceptable risk. So I had to take all those windows had to be marked as a miss. There we go. So then we went up. We were a day early here, not 100 handles. We're like 30 or 40, so maybe you can handle that. And then we got up here and we got a nice top there. These G's I'll be talking about in a minute. We're going to get a 1 to 2 minute Gann lesson. That's what the G is. Well, the Gann method there. Pick that point there and pick that point there. So that was pretty good. So there we're going to be talking about that in a few minutes. And here's your bonds. You're right off that top there. That was a huge spike high there on the bonds. Then we went down. We had some 3 bad calls there, but we had just off of that bottom there on the bonds. Here the dollar did much better. We had the 3 points here for the U.S. And the moon on the U.S. dollar, 3 in a row. Aussie dollar, it dances to the moon. Currencies dance to the moon. British pound was good. There you go. We made a top there on the British pound. 3-day decline. And here's your Canadian dollar, also 1 day ahead of that top there before you had a nice pullback. Euro just kind of went sideways. That was not a clear signal. And so take a pass. So we add all up, try again, add up all the green arrows and the red arrows, and you got 30 winners, 9 misses out of 39 for 76.92%. And now let's get a Gann. It's Gann time. If you don't know who Gann was, Gann by many is considered the greatest market technician of the 20th century. And if you ever dive into Gann, it's complicated. Some people spend 5 to 10 years wrestling with Mr. Gann. I've done this for 45, 50 years. And so I've been able to reduce Mr. Gann I could teach a Gann in probably 20, 30 minutes. One of Mr. Gann's techniques was Mr. Gann believed that square numbers had special properties. So, like 3 squared is 9. 9 is a square number. 3 times 3 is 9. That's a square number. So, for example, I had this on an Excel spreadsheet, and it tells me when to look at these different days. And it had, for example, May 17th was 14,161 days, which is 119 squared from the major August the 9th, 1982 low. I know you know that day, Larry, right?
Well, I've heard about it, but I don't know if I know it or not.
Well, I've heard you refer to it on your show before. That was the big bottom in 82 to the day, right? And
sure
let's go back and look at the S&P chart. And we're going to zoom back here now to good old S&P. And there we go. There's the 17th. That was just off of that top there. So that was pretty good. And we might as well take a mental picture of that while we're here. There's the 19th. And that's been the low we had just a couple of days ago. And what was that? Let's go look at our Gann math here. And the 19th was 12,321, which is 111 squared days from August the 25th, 1987. And I know you know that date too, Larry. That was the top in 87, which was the big Mayan harmonic.
Yeah.
The planets all lined up there in Virgo. And then we had led to the big crash in October, crash 87. So what's coming up now? So that's one method you can use. These dates were in my letter in advance when I sent my letter out on Sunday, May 2nd. They were all there in advance. I try to keep this simple, though, so I don't put everything in my presentations here that I have in my letter. So anyway, I try to just keep it simple. But here's what's coming up now. This weekend, Saturn is going to turn retrograde. That's a big deal. One of my two top categories, planets get to 0 latitude, and the other is when the planets stop based on geocentric motion. That's from the point of view of the Earth. They look like, every now and then, they look like they stop their motion and reverse their direction. Saturn's doing that this weekend. So the Saturn is coffee. It's in the sign of Aquarius, which is copper. And, of course, stocks respond to everything. But wait, Larry, that's not all. Coming up here next week, we have on the night of the 25th, or wee hours of the 26th, we have a total lunar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius, and that will be at perigee. That's a triple whammy. We don't only get that. I think the last one they had was 2015.
What day was that? What day was that?
That'll be I think it's like 7 in the morning on the 26th. I'm calling that after the close of the 25th.
Okay.
Most people are not trading at 7 in the morning, so there you go.
Yeah, I got a couple questions when we come back from the break, okay?
Okay.
To our listeners. We'll be right back, folks. Norm Winski calls it to the minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave! Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi, folks. This is Steve Rhodes. Stay tuned for another great hour of the Trader's Edge heard here at TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. I believe we're with Norm Winski of Astro Trends. Norm, I have a question for one of our listeners. You talk about, a little bit of common sense. How much of common sense is there with your money management? Can you elaborate that on a little bit?
Everything is risk reward, as you know, Larry. You look at the charts, and you say you see maybe the market's coming down into a time window for a low. It's coming to a support level. You say, okay, if I buy it here, what's my potential going? If it goes the way we reverse and go the other way, what's my potential on the upside? And take a fraction of that, like maybe 1/5, and that's your risk. So if you think you can. You look at the chart and say, I think, if you're doing corn, I think it can move 20 cents. That's $1,000. Well, you don't want to be risking more than a couple $100 to make 1,000, right?
Yeah. Wow.
That makes sense.
Okay, that makes good sense. Yeah, go ahead and finish.
Anyway, this is really important stuff, Larry. This is huge stuff. And so we got that total lunar eclipse. That's we're into itself, and it's going to happen at perigee the night of the 25th. Then we have Uranus to the U.S. chart. And then the Memorial Day weekend, vroom, vroom, Larry, in Indy there, Mercury is going to have 2 huge Mercury cycles converging. This is very rare. You got Mercury turning retrograde, and over the same weekend, you got Mercury at 0 south latitude. 2 huge Mercury cycles culminating at the same time. That's important for your grains in particular and the stock market. Okay, so how do we get a hold of Norm? Here we go. Here's my contact information. I'm going to run a special here now. If you call me right away, you might convince me and talk to me. You might convince me to send the May letter for the rest of the May, so you can get the rest of May for free. Unbelievable. With a money-back guarantee. You got to mention Larry's name, and I might even give you a double money-back guarantee for free, So there we go. Here's my contact info. There's Norm in Naples, 239-594-3939. There's my email, nwinsky, mpark with a Q mail.com, and you can call me at nwinsky_1. Thanks a lot for having me on. Larry,
Thanks,
everybody,
Norm.
have a great weekend.
Be safe. We'll be back, folks, on Monday. May God bless.